Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. Today's topic, we are going to have the Navajo Nation Department of Agriculture cover their bull leasing program. My name is Jessie Jim, and I am the NAPS project field coordinator. Our NAPS team, which includes myself, the field coordinator, and then also we have our assistant field coordinator, Sharon Sandman, and then our digital technical coordinator, Jana Johnson. So at this time, I would like to, as I mentioned before, introduce Ivan Vicente, Navajo Nation Department of Agriculture's extension agent, and he's going to provide more information on their bull leasing program.
My name is Ivan Vicente. I do work with the Navajo Nation Department of Agriculture, and I oversee here on the nation. And we do have a bull leasing program that we have within our program. And we started this bull leasing program back in 2010. And the idea of operating in leasing registered Angus bulls to our Navajo producers was one of many things, was to improve the genetics on the Navajo Nation. And I believe there are a lot of cattle producers on our nation, and for many years, time and time again, a lot of our producers have been depending on where their sale barns were. It was somewhat always seen as when the Navajo Nation producers were to take cattle to market, it was talked about our cattle being discounted just from the moment that any buyer sees a Bar N brand. So that was kind of what was stated out there. So back in 2010, we had decided to start this bull leasing program so that we can change the brand image of Navajo cattle on the nation. And that's why we bought these high quality bulls, so that we can get our producers to lease these bulls. And it is costly for any one producer to go out and buy bulls, especially registered bulls, and of course of great genetics. So that's how the program started and began in 2010. So the first set of bulls we purchased were from Basin Ranch up from Hobson, Montana, and we just last year we sold off all of our tanks. So we had them for 10 years. And then we bought another set in 2012. We bought those, and they were also from the Basin Ranch. And then in 2016, we bought another set of registered Angus bulls from Scheffelbein Farms, and they're from Kimball, Minnesota. So that's kind of the history of where our bulls came from and when we purchased them. And like I stated, that's all, and it's available. All these bulls are available for our Navajo producers. And back in 2010 up until last year, we pretty much used to deliver and then also pick up these bulls to anybody that was wanting to lease them. And of course, they brought their own trailers to pick them up as well. But just with fuel costs and so forth, and just, as today with the pandemic and everything, we had producers that were wanting to lease. We had them bring their trailers, and we just loaded them up here on the fairgrounds. So that's kind of how our operation has been. But like I stated, there are for our Navajo producers so that they can increase and enhance their calf crop out there. So each one of these bulls are registered, and we do have their EPDs And, we've had many producers, we've had some elderly folks that still do lease bulls from us. And, through time, we have some young producers as well that are out there on the nation. So, our elder folks, they'd rather be on site and take a look at these bulls and look at how big they are, looking at their conformation and so forth. That's how some of our producers are. And then, we've got some progressive producers that actually want to take a look at EPDs and make their choices by looking at some of those numbers as well. So we do have all the information on each of these bulls that we have. So as of right now, this year in 2021, we do have 42 bulls that we had available. And we've got some 5-year-olds, which are from the Scheffelbein Farms from Minnesota. And then we've got some 2-year-olds right now. We bought those bulls and they were shipped to us last year during just after the pandemic had happened. But we received those bulls as yearlings, and now they're 2-year-olds. So the 2-year-old bulls, they are from. We went back with the Basin Ranch, but they're not called Basin Ranch anymore. Their dad sold the ranch to the boys, and now it's called Stevenson's Diamond Dot Ranch. But they still carry the same line and the genetics from 2010, and I really like the bulls from Montana just because of their conformation, how they grew out well. They really adapted to the nation a whole lot better than our Minnesota bulls did. And even as of right now, these bulls were pretty small last year as when they were to us, and we had producers saying that those bulls didn't seem like they were gonna work for them. But once earlier this year when calving season came about, a lot of the producers that leased from us last year had almost about 95 to 98% calf crop this year from the yearling bulls. So that was great to hear. So those bulls are 2-year-old this year. We did start our leasing program on May 3rd of this year. And, we lease all these bulls with, even though we were still in the pandemic phase, but nevertheless, just like I think all of our producers that are online right now know that, ranching didn't stop when COVID hit. We had our cattle and our sheep and our livestock to tend to on a daily basis. So we went and moved forward with our leasing program back on May 3rd. And majority of our 2-year-olds are all leased out. I've only got about 3 left here on site. And we've got about 6 of our 5-year-olds. So a lot of our producers put in their bulls, come May, beginning of May. So we test all of our bulls back in April. We test them for trichomoniasis, and we also do the breeding soundness exams, and those are done by our local veterinarian here in Sabanito, New Mexico. So all of our bulls have been clean, and I'm proud to say that that all the bulls since 2010 to present, we are trichomoniasis free. And like I've stated earlier, a lot of these bulls have gone out to all of our Navajo producers, even all the way to Western Agency, all 5 agencies on the Navajo Nation. And then we do also have some cattle producers that, run their cattle operation abroad by seeking other pastures, like up in Cortez or Ignacio, Colorado. So these bulls have traveled there, of course. So we're proud to say that we're trichomoniasis free because we've got some issues, I think, within the state of New Mexico where there are some ranches that do have some trich on their ranches. So, but we do test them each year, and then when these bulls do come back, we also retest them as well, because some of these bulls, we do have some cattle producers that put bulls in until fall as well. So when we started this program, you know, that's how we identified that we've got some producers that put in May, and then we also have some producers that put in August, September. So it just all depends on their operation. So, but we're pretty proud of the bulls that we have, and there's been a high demand, except for last year. It kind of slowed up just a tad bit just because of the pandemic. And then this year, you know, it really picked up again. So, but we've only got a few bulls left here if anybody's still interested out there. We do lease our bulls out to producers for 90 days, 3 months. And the fee that we ask for them right now, the rental for the 2-year-olds are $1,000, and they get to use these bulls for a 3-month term. Our 5-year-olds, we lease those out for $500. So, and what we do ask of producers, that we want to make sure that each producer is beef quality assurance certified. And we do have the University of Arizona and then also New Mexico State that offer those classes. So many of our producers are aware of that, and they are up to date on their beef quality assurance certification. And anybody wanting to lease them, you know, of course, has to be a Navajo producer on the nation. Also, we would also like to see the copy of their grazing permits to make sure that they do have a permit and that they are in compliance, so that we're not leasing anybody additional cattle that will compromise their tallies. The other thing that we like to see as well is 2 years of vaccination records. And the reason being is because not only are our bulls tested and vaccinated, as producers should and all should know is, you know, there's a chance that some cows may not take, or they may abort, just because of, you know, having the disease. You know, we've got some producers that have come back to us and stated that some of our bulls didn't work out for them because they didn't have a high percentage of a calf crop a certain year. So a lot of things play a role in that. And one thing I really like to see on their vaccination records is their IBR and BVD vaccinations. It's because, you know, without that, some of these cows, you know, could abort, you know, whether during gestation or even as they're ready to calve out. So, you know, those are some of the things that we like to see, and I like to see on their vaccination history. So that's what we ask of our producers, that as far as document wise. And like I said, you know, we don't ship the bulls anymore this year. So many of our producers have picked up their bulls, and that's the amount of bulls that we have left on site here. We do have them here on the fairgrounds over at the rodeo ground. So we feed them there and we water. So I don't know if anybody has any questions thus far. Jess?
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can ask Ivan directly. If not, we do have the chat box, and you can type in your question there, and I can read it off, and whichever way works for you guys. But while we're waiting, I know with the EPDs, if you have 2-year-olds, I don't know how you would update your EPDs as they get older. How do you do that with EPDs? Or you just what you got from the seller is what you have. They choose the bull. Are you able to send out the EPDs to them to review and go from there?
Yes, we've had a catalog before, but we've put a catalog before, but this year we didn't. But I do share with a lot of our producers that are looking, and especially if they were wanting to choose by looking at EPDs. So I'm sharing that now. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So for those of you that are online, I am sharing my screen right now, and these are the EPDs on the 2-year-old bulls that we have. In the far left column are their tag numbers, and then the second to the left column is also we've got 2 tags on them. So this is the EPDs that we have for the 2-year-olds. And when we do buy these, we go through a representative from Stevenson Diamond Ranch, and basically going through our representative, we try to buy a lot of the bulls with low birth weights and high calving ease. And calving ease direct is the column, the 4th one from the left. So we got our birth weights and then also our calving ease direct. And some of these numbers can be a little difficult to understand for somebody that's new. So basically what we can do is educate some of our producers on how to look at EPDs and choose by looking at some of these numbers. And on the nation, historically, there are some cows and some of these cattle operations where they have medium-sized frame cows. So these 2-year-olds really did work great with our medium frame cattle operators. And then, and the reason why I say that is with the 2-year-olds, they're a lot smaller than my 5-year-olds right now. And the 5-year-olds are probably weighing about maybe 12 to 1,300 pounds. So, that you don't want to choose a bull with great size and try to, breed a lot of these first-time heifers. So that's the reason why we try to keep buying bulls with low birth weights. Even though on this list here, you see some that are in the 90s. There's one that's like at 92 pounds. So when a producer is looking at EPDs, depending on the cattle operation that a rancher does have, we got quite a few that have retained some of their heifers from the previous year. So, they would be of breeding age as yearlings, and using yearling bulls or even 2-year-old bulls on those first year heifers would be of great size. And then we also have some producers that have some larger frame cows, and those cows, for those type of cow operators, I would recommend the 5-year-old bulls. But we do, this is just to illustrate and show you guys, the EPDs that we have for each. So first, for example, we can go with bull 714, which is the on top of the first row. That one's birth weight was 84 pounds, and then calving ease direct is 8. So for anybody that's new to looking at some EPDs, those are the first 2 numbers that I like to educate them on and talk to them about, is looking at, try to pick a lower birth weight. So, and then also depending on what type of breed of cows they have out there on their ranch, and trying to keep low birth weight bulls and having a calving ease direct, as you see on in that column. It's 1 through about 11 on this list here. So the higher number, the number closer to 10, would be your calving ease would be a lot better when you're closer to the number of 10. So, that's how I educate a lot of our producers. So looking at that first bull, it's an average weight of 84 pounds and then a calving ease of 8. So that would be a pretty good size for, and the chances of having to be there during birth for those cows, you shouldn't have hardly any problems. We don't, as ranchers, we don't want to be pulling every calf from every cow during calving season. So that's the reason why we try to pick a bull that's got a low birth weight and a calving ease direct number that's closer to 10. And then the next column is birth weights, and that's by percentage. And for that first bull, it's a minus 0.5. But within the Angus Association, they have a breeding, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we have some professors online, but the Angus Association, I think the breed average is about 72 in the past, and I don't know if it's gone up, but the birth weight would be 72 minus that 0.5. But in this sense, the producers, the ranch had supplied me with these EPDs, so the birth weight would be at 84. So if there was any type of information that wasn't listed on their actual birth weights, then, such as, for example, the second bull number 727, that information wasn't available at the time of registration. So, we could use that birth weight under the column BW, where it'd be the positive number of 1. So it'd be 72 plus 1. So it'd be a 73 pound, or either, depending on what the breed average is for the Angus Association at that time. So then the next column is your weaning weight. And then also weaning weight would be that next column there. And then also a lot of people also choose on, it'd be the YW, and that'd be the yearling weight. So those are some of the information that a lot of our producers also look at. And I think even with our drought situation right now, or if we do have some cattle producers that are producing calves for the Navajo beef program, and but the Navajo beef program that's based out of Padre Mesa, and with the Navajo beef label, they're always looking, come sale time, they're looking at some weaning weights of the calves that are bought and put through the Navajo program. They're always wanting to buy at 550 pounds or more. So those are some of the numbers that you can take a look at as a cattle producers when you're choosing some bulls too, whether you be looking at weaning weights or yearling weights. So those type of information is available to you on these EPDs. And then the milking capabilities. So all these numbers are based on estimates of the possibilities of that bull transferring some of these I just lost my train of thought. Transferring some of these traits onto their offsprings. That's what it is. Thank you, Jess. So that's how some of our producers do look at these EPDs, so that and again, these are numbers that are obtained from the ranches once they put their, so for bull 714, they'd be looking at some of the history on that bull's father or sire, you could say. So that's how they obtain these information from the Angus Association once they get them registered and so forth. So, and some producers, and I think with our Navajo beef producers, as progressive as they are, they would probably look at marbling and also ribeye areas, and those are the last two columns. So you look at marbling, and then you're also looking at ribeye area measurements and the type of marbling that will be that you should expect off of these calves once they go through the feed yard. Once they get fed out, they go through that feed yard and come harvest time. So it gives an overall view of how the performance of that bull. So that's where we're at.
Okay,
And,
great. And then for, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I don't know if anybody has any questions thus far, but those are some of the information that we have for these bulls. And like I've stated, we've got a few bulls left if anybody's interested.
I was just going to ask, for those producers that, looking at the EPDs, and then also do you, work with them? Would with their herds, what kind of herds do they have? Is it heifers? Is it calves? I mean, cows, I'm sorry. Heifers, cows, is it mixed? And do you, walk beside them and suggest, okay, if you got a mixed herd, I would go this route with this bull, or, kind of point them in the right directions to where, they're not putting a 5-year-old on a heifer and then putting a smaller bull on a cow. So do you assist some of the producers in that way?
Yes, we do. We do have a lot of returning clients year after year. So, a lot of them I do know, and they know what they're looking for. But if we have somebody brand new that's, and I kid you not, some people haven't even heard of the bull leasing program that we've had. And, like I said, we're in our, well, actually, I guess 11 years this year. So, and anybody brand new, we definitely have to educate them and then ask them about, especially now that, we're not delivering any bulls. I'm not able to take a look at their cow herd. But that was one good thing when we did do deliver and then also pick up. And the reason why I like doing that was just because I could take a look at the cows that they have there at home, look at the body condition. And that's one most important thing, with leasing bulls. And like I mentioned a few minutes ago, is we did have some producers come back and say, our bull didn't work and so forth. And that's the reason why we are really stringent on taking a look at some vaccination records, and definitely looking and doing our breeding soundness evaluations through our veterinarian, because there are, I mentioned from 2010 to present, we purchased so many bulls, but again, our cattle, our bull leasing program we lost a lot of bulls, and whether it be from injuries to non-performing ones when it came time to testing. And when we do our breeding soundness evaluations, we do have to have them pass with 75% or above. And if they don't pass on their first test, we'll test them usually 2 weeks after for at least 3 times. And if they don't pass by the 3rd time, then we send them to the sale barn and we get rid of those. So it's a we've got some, like I said, last year we had some 10-year-olds, and I kid you not, some of my 10-year-olds were still outperforming some of my 5-year-olds or 4-year-olds back then. So, and that's how, we had to, I guess you could say, trim the tree, and we had to sell quite a few bulls just because their breeding soundness tests. So that's where we're at. And so any of the bulls that we have here are all tested and ready to go. And we just short of saying guarantee, they are all performing bulls.
Okay. All right. And then another question, what if you get, I don't know, maybe three other producers that's liking, bull number 714? What do you do? Is it like a first come, first serve, or, how do you work that out?
Oh God. Yeah. It's a first come, first serve every year. And, once our bully team program really became popular and everything, it's a first come, first serve. And, it's for, like I said, all these bulls are for all of our Navajo producers. And when we advertise and say that, for example, this year, May 3rd was the start of our bullies, and I had to put the time. Before, I used to start at 8:00. This time we started at about 9:30. And the reason being is because we've had some people pretty much camp out here. Some people would show up at 4:00 in the morning from Western Agency. And I think this year we had some people that got a hotel lodging here in town, so that they're here pretty early as well. So it's pretty popular, and we had to do a first come, first serve, so whoever's first in line gets first choice. So
okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds interesting. Then you have how many bulls left over?
I've got four of the 2-year-olds and I think 5 or 6 of the 5-year-olds right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions? Like I said, raise your hand and I'll unmute. If not, throw your questions in the chat box or the Q&A box. And just so you guys know, yesterday we did have New Mexico State University's livestock specialist, Marcy Ward. She did a presentation on bull selection, and in that presentation, she did cover EPDs. It's a lot of information within an hour, and so if you want more information on what to look for, if you guys are retaining your heifers, or are you breeding for, if you're part of the Native American beef program, what to look for, and if you're what you're producing for. So if you guys want more information, it will be posted on our Facebook page, the NAPS Project. So I don't know if you have any more information, Ivan. It's pretty straightforward. And then as far as BQA trainings, when do you have them set up?
Usually we have University of Arizona Extension, which is located in the office right next door to us. They're the ones that do put on those classes. But all our producers this year, had their certification still, and they were still good. But I believe they had a beef quality assurance class when New Mexico cattle growers were out at Cow House. When was that? Last month?
Right.
Yeah. So
I think, yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't heard if
so
Kristen has put anything yet for this year for any of our producers, just because of COVID.
Along the same line. So, if you did get certified, when BQA was first coming out, I don't know, like 11 years ago, do you have to renew it every year, or how does that work? Is, once fine, or do you need it renewed yearly?
I believe it's renewed every 2 years.
Producers would just have to work with their extension offices and find the next
Correct.
training.
Yes.
Okay. And so when does your leasing stop? So it starts in May. When does it end?
It never ends. It never ends. Like I said,
Yeah.
with my personal ranch, we put bulls in here in May, and just like so I can't say, it's the same across the nation. I mentioned earlier, we do have some producers that put their bulls in until fall time as well. So that's why I say it's kind of never ending. But majority of our, like I said, I've only got a few left now, and so majority of our bulls are out, and those are to the producers that put bulls in here in spring. So, and then again, we'll start getting these bulls back come August 3rd. So they'll start coming back, and then we'll test, but they have to be off cows uh, for quite some time before we start testing for trick again. And
Right.
I don't know how many participants we have online, but and the reason why I say this is because we had a close call with one of our ranches out near Bernalillo, and there are some ranches out there that are within in Bernalillo County that have tested for trichomoniasis. And trichomoniasis is a sexually transmitted disease within our cattle. So it's something that's always just been talked about, and until it almost hits close to home, that it's like, oh shoot, we got to really pay attention now. And it's always been talked about. We always test for trichomoniasis in our bulls. And not only that, but anybody or any cattle producers that's buying cattle or shipping bulls as well too, of course, you have to have your health certificate, and your vet has to test for trichomoniasis. So we had to test one of the ranches out in Bernalillo County. We even tested all the cows. So we had to test 19 cows, and the way the veterinarian tested the cows is basically similar to the bulls, but acquiring the samples for the cows, and then we got those test results back in about a week or so, and they all came back negative. So it was a scare, but just to let everybody know, that disease still is active, and it's still out there. So you just got to watch your herd. And one of the things with trichomoniasis is abortions, and our rancher out saw a tremendous drop in his calf crop. And just from neighbors talking, that's how he found out that one of the other neighbors had trichomoniasis on their ranch. So that's what alerted us to go out there and test his herd, and make sure that we were clean there. So
Okay.
a lot of diseases that we talk about within our livestock industry, whether it be black leg, whether it be upper respiratory diseases, I don't know, we've all heard of, IBR, hitting a whole cat, and that can be a tremendous and an economical loss, to any cattle producer. Let's say, for example, let's say if somebody had 50 head and they lost 25 cows, it does hurt the producer. And especially once you put a dollar value on 25 headed cows that someone lost, that's when it really adds up and really hurts the pocketbook, especially in this day, through this. And a lot of our producers have been, feeding their way through the drought, and, losing 25 head when they could have, let's say if they were to take it to a sale barn, then they could have got dollars for it.
Mhm.
as opposed to, a zero.
Right.
What's the value of a dead cow? It's zero. It's zero. So, it could be an economical loss to a lot of these producers. So we really got to take care of our herds and, vaccinate each and every one of them, keep on top of that and keep an eye on the cattle, especially through this drought. And it's barely still springtime and summer hadn't hit, and we're already in 100-degree weather. So, we really got to keep an eye on our cattle, and, that's going to be my education. And we've been educating on that to not only our tribal ranchers, but our producers within Eastern Agency. And, even this morning, there's been talks about the grazing officials to do a 40% reduction. It's a recommendation that is sent to a resource and development committee, as I've heard this morning. So that's something that that's at home. And as any producer or any rancher, if you wherever we drive every day, we take a look at the range out there. It's pretty dry, and we haven't even, not many places, I don't think, have even gotten a 1/4 inch of rain year to date. So that's just how dry it is. So, but nevertheless, as cattle producers, we got to move them forward.
Right.
Anybody else has any questions?
It's pretty straightforward, and I might have asked what everybody was thinking, but we're closing in on that hour, and I know your time and everybody's time is valuable. But thank you, Ivan, for your presentation. And I guess if anybody has any would like to, if anybody has any questions, and they're interested in the bull leasing program, where would they contact you at? Do you have any, what's your contact information?
They can get a hold of me here at the office. My phone number here is 928-871-6635. Again, the number is 928-871-6635. Otherwise, by email, that would be ibecenti@navajo-nsn.gov.
Okay. All right. That works. I think you can type it in the chat box. If not, I can, we'll get everybody's email addresses and send it out. If not, I think everybody knows to call the Department of Ag and ask for Ivan. Be the simplest way. But thank you again, Ivan, for your presentation and all the information you provided us. And so I would like to invite everyone tomorrow to our farm safety, our farm equipment safety webinar. Is going to be tomorrow evening at 5:30 to 6:30. The Zoom login information is posted there on the screen. If not, you can go to our Facebook channel, Facebook page. And if you missed yesterday's presentation, you can find it again on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. And if you'd like to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, email us. And we do have a survey when you exit. It should pop up. Please fill it out. That helps us with future webinars and what we could work on. But other than that, thank you everyone again for attending. Ivan, for your presentation. Everyone, please continue to be safe. Wear your mask and practice safe social distancing. So everyone have a good afternoon, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you, Ivan. The Native American Producer Success Project, or NAPS project in short, is a collaborative effort between Dene Inc., a nonprofit organization, the New Mexico State University Cooperative Extension Services, and Dene College Land Grant Office. This project is being funded by USDA's Office of Partnership and Public Engagement, Outreach, and Assistance for Socially Disadvantaged and Veteran Farmers and Ranchers program. The overall goal of the NAPS project is to increase the profitability and long-term sustainability of Navajo farmers and ranchers. To help us achieve this goal, there are some activities that we are currently providing in 4 key areas, which are improving Navajo farmer and ranch operations through a series of workshops, focusing on crop-related topics and livestock-related topics. We are also increasing our Navajo farmers and ranchers' knowledge of and access to available programs and technical assistance provided by USDA, BIA, Navajo Nation, New Mexico State University Cooperative Extension Services, Dene College Land Grant Office, and other professionals. We are also strengthening the organizational capacity of the Navajo Farmer and Rancher Congress to address the current and future needs of the Navajo farmers and ranchers. So if you are interested in being part of the Congress, please contact us. And last but not least, we are facilitating Navajo farmers and ranchers' use of USDA programs such as NRCS, FSA, and RMA programs.